Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing really well and enjoying their weekend. I have decided today, since I'm home and not really planning to do anything, to make some cookies that are 3 ingredients, very quick, very easy, but really delicious. They are a shortbread cookie. These cookies are nice and sugary and crumbly, and they're just melt in your mouth. They're delicious cookies, very easy to make. It will take you no time to get these down. I am going to turn around and show you guys the ingredients that we're going to make, and we can get started making some cookies this morning. Okay, so here's the 3 ingredients. That's right. There's only 3 ingredients to these cookies, y'all. So this is the simplest recipe you could ever ask for right here. So what I've got here, I've got 2 cups of flour, a half of a cup of confectioner's sugar, and a cup of butter, or 2 sticks of butter. And that is literally it. That is all you're going to need. Now, you will need additional confectionate sugar, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. You're going to need a little additional confectioner's sugar for this recipe because once the dough gets mixed in our mixer, you're going to need to roll it out with a rolling pin. What I use instead of flour, because as we all know, more flour means it's going to be more tough. So you don't want to use an excess of flour. So what I do is I dust my surface with confectionate sugar, and I roll it out with a little confectionate sugar sprinkled on the top instead of flour. Because flour, like I said, makes it more, I don't know, dry. It's just not as good with a lot of flour. So I would recommend using confectionate sugar instead of flour. I'll let you see this process, and it's a really, great little tip that you might want to try when you're making these cookies. These are simple, rolled out. They're going to be cut with a cutter and put in the oven. So I'm going to get everything set up, and we're going to start making some of these wonderful shortbread cookies. Okay, so here we go. We're fixing to start making these 3-ingredient, simple shortbread cookies. First of all, I'm going to take my 2 sticks of butter and I'm going to put them in my mixer. Then you're going to take your half of a cup of confectionate sugar and dump it right inside. We're going to get the sugar and the butter incorporated well. So set my mixer here, and I'm going to just cut it up slowly at first. Your butter needs to be at room temperature, of course. I've been making these cookies for a while. They are super tasty, especially with a cup of coffee. They're just very yummy. Like I said, they're very simple. Oh, and by the way, your oven needs to be preheated to 350 degrees. I need to do that. But you're going to get your sugar and your butter mixed in really good so that you can start incorporating your flour, if you can see in there. I'm gonna scrape my sides down real quick. Look at that. I could just sit and eat that butter, couldn't y'all? It would be so not good for you, but you know that's yummy with all the sugar inside of it. Yummy. Oh, I can see the confectionate sugar still needs to be mixed even more. It's still kind of powdery, so we're just gonna do this real good. Now, you don't want your sticks of butter melted, of course. You just want them room temperature. I've had mine sitting out for, I don't know, a couple hours, I guess. This morning I took them out of the refrigerator and put them under my stove, under my light, and that seems to do pretty good, putting them under the light here, under the stove light. That kind of seems to get my butter soft pretty quick. So let that go just another minute or two, and we'll be done with the incorporation of the butter and the confectionate sugar. You know, I love confectionate sugar. I cook with it a lot. I make a buttercream icing for cakes and stuff, and man, it is so good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start incorporating our flour, and we're just going to do, you know, a little at a time, like I did on my last video for making the cookies. We're going to do a bit at a time. That way the flour doesn't tend to fly up in your face while you're doing it. So I'm going to do about half a cup at a time in here, and it's only 2 cups. It's not a bunch, not a whole bunch of flour, but it is one of those things. It could get messy. It likes to fly up out of that bowl. And I have a cover that I just recently bought for my bowl to keep the flour and stuff from slinging back up. But for my videos, I kind of want you guys to be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing. I know it's kind of hard to see right now what I'm doing because the angle of my camera and everything, but alrighty. Now this is going to get crumbly at first. It'll get crumbly, and then once it gets crumbly, it will then start forming a dough, and you will see that you'll be able to form it into a ball. And that's what you want. And this is another one of those cookies, guys, that you could use if you wanted to make cookies with your kids or something for Halloween or Christmas with cookie cutters. This is a great recipe for the sugar cookie that you can roll out. They're not real bad to spread when you bake them, so that's a good thing. You could decorate them. You know, you could cook them and then decorate them. So I'm not a real good decorator, so that's not my forte. But so I just like to make them and eat them. Now I'm gonna get that going real good, y'all. See if we can see how it's kind of getting a little crumbly. You keep going, you just let it go, and it will eventually form a dough that's like a batter. I mean, not like a batter, like a that you can ball up. I'm actually going to scrape down my sides real quick. And if you find that it is too thin, you can, just like I said on the other video for the chocolate chip cookies, you can stick it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. If your kitchen's hot and you're finding that it's not reaching the consistency that you want, you can stick it in the refrigerator and let it get firm before you try to roll it out. So this is mixing up pretty good. I think it's about really pretty good. Let me look at it, and we'll look at it and see if we think that it's something that maybe I need to stick this in the refrigerator for a little while, because it does seem to be a little thin maybe this morning. My kitchen's not especially hot, but you know, sometimes you just never know when you're working with sugar and butter. You just don't ever know how it's going to come out. So I'm going to scrape this down real good and see what we're looking at here. I think we can get rid of that. I think we're done with the mixing part of it. Alright, let's see here. Let's try scraping it down and rolling it into a ball and see how it looks. I think it's going to be okay. Yeah, it seems to be okay. It's not sticking to my hands. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I love the way raw dough feels, don't y'all? It just, I don't know, I could just sit and play in it. Alright, so here it is, y'all. I mean, tell me how quick that was. I mean, you can't do anything any quicker than that. Scrape get everything out of my bowl. So now that I've got it in this ball, I'm going to move it over to a table over here that I'm going to have parchment paper out on with some confectionate sugar. And we're gonna get this rolled out. So I'm going to get everything set up and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I hope my camera angle is good enough for you guys to see. So what I've done is I've come over here to my kitchen table and I've laid out wax paper or parchment paper. Guys, I use wax paper and parchment paper a lot. I bake with it in the bottom of my pan, sometimes the parchment, but I like to lay it out on my tables for if I'm cooling cookies or got my Chex Mix I want to cool off on the tables. So, you know, so what I'm doing, y'all, this is confectionate sugar. Isn't that lovely? I'm going to sprinkle confectionate sugar onto my area here that I'm going to be rolling out. Now, here is my beautiful ball of cookie mix that we made. I'm going to flatten that out a little bit. I'm going to flatten this out. Let me move this camera just a little bit. Maybe you guys can see better. Okay, I'm also going to take a little bit, sprinkle over the top of my dough. And I've got my rolling pin, and I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna start going back and forth, you know, with my rolling pin. You want to get the thickness about 1/4 inch thick. These, you know, and this does not make a huge bit. This is gonna make maybe 15. I don't know. We'll have to count them, I guess, when we get done. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna roll this out. And you see how it's rolled out. It's pretty thin. I've got my cookie sheet over here, so we're ready to, you know, just put it straight over to this cookie sheet. So now that I've got my dough, and I can kind of feel to see if it's at the thickness. And you know what, guys, we're talking, you know, 1/4 inch. It's very, very small. Now, I don't have cookie cutters. I know, crazy. I cook all the time, and I don't have cookie cutters. But I do have a shot glass. How you can improvise and use anything in your house when you are baking. So I'm going to take my little shot glass here, and I'm just going to start cutting out squares for cookies. See that? See how perfectly that come out? I'm going to place that right on my cookie sheet. So I'm going to go through here, and we're going to just go around the way, and we're going to cut out cookies. Y'all, these aren't going to take long to bake either because they're thin. If you want them a little thicker, you can do them a little thicker. You know, I don't work in exact sciences, so a lot of times my stuff, it might not come out exactly like the recipe says. But now these cookies too, y'all, are not going to spread like a chocolate chip or a snickerdoodle. There's no spreading with these. These are pretty well what they're going to be. The size that they're going to be is the size you're cutting out. So you can put these fairly close together on your cookie sheet. You don't have to leave like a 2-inch, you know, a 2-inch gap like some recipes tell you to. On these, you don't really have to do that. Well, we're going to get more than 12. I do believe we might get 2 dozen out of this little roll here that we've done. I love working. It's very messy, but I love working with a dough. I love making bread because I love getting my hands in bread and just kneading it. It's very satisfying for some reason. Guys, if you get a little misshapen, it's okay. They don't have to be perfect. You know, these aren't being sold in a bakery, so we're all right. It will be fine. Still cutting along here, guys. I hope everybody had a good week. I was pretty busy. I'm busy every week, it seems like, at work. We are constantly got stuff going on. We're nearing our fiscal year end. So, you know, trying to get everything prepared for that. And that is, I don't know if if any of you guys are in accounting, but if you are, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say year end. It's a lot of preparation. Come on now, come out of there. A lot of preparation for year end at work. But we're getting it done. Getting everything handled. I work with a great group of people. I really do. Everybody tries to pitch in and help everybody, and that's just the way it should be if you ask me. Alright, so as you can see, I've got all these cutouts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to gather it all together, and we're going to re-roll it out. Take it. You don't want to work it too much because you don't want it tough. But I mean, my goodness, look at how much dough I still have. I mean, come on now, we're not gonna let that go. Oops, making a mess over here, y'all. It's part of baking, making messes. I love it. Love it, love it. So I'm going to finish rolling this out and putting them in the cookie sheet, and I'll show you guys what they look like once they've gone in the oven. So I ended up with 42 cookies. Wow, talk about miscounting there. Now, as you can see, they're not real big cookies. They're small cookies because I used a shot glass to cut them. Guys, you can use whatever you want to cut them up. So now that they have been cut up, they're on an ungreased cookie sheet, I'm going to stick these babies in the oven. We don't want them to bake for too long. You do not want them to get too brown. Once again, this is one of those recipes. You do not need to let it get too brown or it will be too crunchy. You want these are not really soft in the middle. These are a harder cookie. But you want them crumbly and sandy where they almost melt in your mouth. So don't let them bake too long. So I'm going to set my timer for like 10 minutes. Because if I not recall, last time it took, about 12 to 14 minutes. So I'm going to check them at 10. Just see how they look. And I will show you guys the finished product. And here we go. Here they are finished. They are golden brown around the edges. Now, the ones that were thinner, look at there. They got a little darker. Like I said, it's not a perfect science. I am not a perfect person. So some of them got a little darker than the others. But I tasted those dark ones, and I'm just going to say, yeah, they pretty daggum good, even though they are a little dark. So I'm going to let these cool, and then they'll be, y'all, yummy, yummy. Thank you all for watching me cook these cookies today. I really enjoyed it. And let me just tell you, they are so sugary, and really, they almost melt in your mouth. They're so, so good. Three ingredients, guys. That's all it took to make these delicious cookies. You probably have these ingredients in your cabinet right now. Roll them out. Get in there and play with it and have a good time. And because you're going to enjoy eating them. They'll be gone. These will be gone probably within a day. But I just wanted to tell you all thank you so much for watching my videos. I really enjoy cooking for you all. So I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed weekend. And I hope that you all get to relax and enjoy it. Maybe do something fun. So until next time, guys, y'all have a great day. And God bless every one of you.